Hey, welcome back, students. In this video, I want to go ahead and talk to you about chemical changes. So chemical changes for us are going to be the following. A chemical change is going to be a change in which the physical and the chemical properties has occurred. In other words, what you wind up doing here when a change in the physical and the chemical properties has occurred, you wind up with a new substance. Okay? And this is going to be what is created as a result of this physical and chemical property change or changes that are occurring there. There is definitely a new substance created here. So the identity of the original substance is no longer the same. So let's explore an example of this. So an example would be here if we take, for example, let's say that we take iron. Okay, the symbol for iron is Fe, but let's say that we take a piece of iron and we put this outside in the environment somewhere on the lawn, and over time it gets wet, so there's water involved. What tends to happen to this? Well, eventually we all know that if we leave iron out there unprotected, without painting it or priming it in some sort to protect it from the air and the water, eventually what winds up happening here is that you wind up developing rust on the piece of iron. Well, this is an example of a reaction that's actually taking place. So at the surface, the iron is no longer going to stay iron. It actually gets converted to something else. In this particular case, it becomes iron oxide. That's what rust is. So what we're creating here is we actually are creating a new substance. So this here is an example of a chemical change. Okay? Another example here would be when you actually do the following. Let's say that you actually take, let's say you take some vinegar, okay, and you react this with some baking soda. What do you have? What happens in this case? Well, if you've ever done this experiment before in your home kitchen or in the lab, you'll notice that the vinegar and the baking soda will eventually react, and what it would cause here is you're going to have bubbles. Okay, so you wind up getting bubbles here as a reaction. Now, later we'll learn that whenever we have chemical reactions taking place, there are some key things that you should be aware of that kind of tells you that that reaction took place. One of those things is going to be the formation of bubbles or the release of gas. So this tells you that there was an actual reaction taking place. So some of the vinegar and some of the baking soda reacted with one another, created something else. And in this particular case, the something else is going to be bubbles, but bubbles of carbon dioxide. That's what's actually formed at the end of this. Okay, among other stuff. But this is the one thing that you actually observe. And so because this is a new substance that was created as a result of mixing baking soda and vinegar together, this is an example of a chemical change. So in short, a chemical change is going to be change in the physical and in the chemical properties of substances, but it's going to result in a new substance being formed. And that's going to be critical for you to determine the difference between a chemical change and a physical change. So go ahead and subscribe, keep watching, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next video.